Welcome back to Casting Confidential. I'm Rosen, and today's episode is extra special because it's the final episode of season 3. What a great season it's been. We've had such incredible conversations with Danielle Pinnock from Ghosts, Purna Yaganathan from Deli Boys, Brandon J. McLaren from Wayward, Jeff Hiller from Somebody Somewhere, who went on to win an Emmy right after joining us, and vertical video star TJ Wilk, who's changing the way we think about storytelling. And to close it all out, today's episode, I'm so excited to bring you my conversation with the amazing Shiri Appleby. So let's dive in. Looking to land your next big role? Casting Networks is where more high-quality roles are booked than any other casting service. With an annual membership, you'll unlock every tool you need to stand out. Unlimited headshots and reels, submission tracking, even the chance to link your socials and showcase your personal brand. On the go, the Casting Network's iOS app makes it easy to find and submit to roles anytime, anywhere. Right now, Casting Confidential listeners get $65 off an annual membership. Just use code CONFIDENTIAL at checkout or try it free for 14 days. Head to castingnetworks.com/confidential and get ready to get noticed. But hurry, this offer won't last long. I want to tell you about something that's truly changing the game for working actors. Shamika Wright, yes, a working actress and filmmaker with over 20 years of experience, is now offering exclusive one-on-one coaching through Wright Positive Films. And let me tell you, this isn't your average actor coaching. This is real-world audition to booking strategy, personal to you, and led by someone who actually gets what it takes. If you're getting callbacks but not bookings, or you're ready to own your next role, this is your next right move. Head to wrightpositive.com/book-online. That's WRIGHT positive.com/book-online and get ready to strengthen your acting skills in an authentic, empowering, and intentional way today. You'll thank yourself later, and maybe me too. Hey, actors. Need a reader but don't have anyone around, or maybe your friend's on the way and you want to get a head start and run it a few times on your own? Check out RAFY, the app that scans your sides, lets you pick from over 60 voices to read with, and has an optional teleprompter built right in. It works in multiple languages, and there's a web version too if you prefer using your computer. Whether you're rehearsing, memorizing, or recording a self-tape, RAFY gives you the flexibility to do it all on your own time. Try it now at rafy.app. That's RAFY.app. And check the show notes for a 10% discount code. You'll thank me later. And with that, let's jump right into today's show.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Casting Confidential. I'm your host, Rosen, and today I'm joined by an incredible co-host, a casting director whose work spans film and TV, and who's a true champion for actors. That's Kimberly Skyrme. Welcome, Kimberly.
Great to be here.
And now for our special guest. You know her from Roswell, Unreal, and so many unforgettable roles. She's also stepped behind the camera as a director, and we're going to dig into that today too. And she brings her artistry full circle and doing all the things. Please welcome the amazing Shiri Appleby. Hi, Shiri.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh, we are so happy to have you.
So happy.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, I've been a fan of Unreal, particularly since it hit the airs, because I used to catch shows like The Bachelor.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah. Do you remember the show Eliminate?
No, sure.
Oh my God.
So
I did a lot of Eliminate. And I mean, that show was seedy, but that was back in the days of, walking and talking and casting. And so, I mean, seeing this crazy unscripted show about unscripted TV, which felt like a documentary to me, was
That's a nice compliment.
it was so fun, so fun. Um, so yeah, now take us back further though, back to Roswell, such a defining show. What do you remember about like the auditions to get that? And also, I mean, let's face it, you've been acting since you're 3 years old. So in this show, we just kind of like to talk about your audition process and your relationship to casting.
The journey.
Yeah, so give me a little insight, a little backstory for that.
Sure. Well, my parents, put me in the business when I was 3 years old, me and my brother. And this was back in the days as a kid where you would have like 3 or 4 auditions a day after school, right? And you were like
And in person,
all
of course, just
in
remind
person.
people, 'cause some
Yes,
people don't know
yes,
about that in person.
all in.
And wait, you were in New York?
No, I live in Los Angeles.
Okay, and you were
Born
always
and raised.
Okay.
Born and raised, yeah.
Yeah. Born and raised in LA, and a neighbor across the street was a kid actor. So my parents put me in the business, and parents took me every day after school. And like I said, it was like 3 or 4 auditions. And when you would wait in the casting office for like an hour at a time, and there were always the same kids you would see. Um, and so that's like really, I became really comfortable, obviously, since I started at such a young age, going into the room, learning how to read the room, take direction in person. You have a lot of stinkers, obviously, that's part of it. But then you would really find casting directors that would champion you, even at a very young age. And if you weren't right for one thing, they would bring you back for another thing. And it's an interesting story about Roswell. Roswell was the very first time that I had heard from a friend that they were casting a show, and that I called my agents to see if I could get in. I had never had that experience yet. I was 19, and I had heard for the first time that casting didn't want to see me.
Oh,
And
that's
at
crazy.
it was crazy, and at that stage, like I said, I was 18 or 19. I assumed that I got seen for everything. Like, I didn't understand that there were parts you wouldn't be seen for.
Amazing.
And
That's so
and
interesting.
the and so my agent was Bonnie Likey at Harry Gold, and so she called the casting director, Allison Jones, and I got a pre-read. And I bombed. I was, like, so nervous because I went in hearing that all I kept thinking was, "She doesn't wanna see me." And so I went in and I went off book and I started cursing, like, I was just so nervous because I went in feeling like I would already been rejected.
Wow.
And so then
That's such an important point to share, because there is that mindset thing for actors. It's so important. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, of course. And so then another first that I had never done was I was like, "Well, it's not fair that I bombed. I should still be seen." I don't know why. I had read the script and I like love Jason Katiem's writing, and I was like, I really want, and I was motivated by being told they didn't want me.
Incredible perspective.
Okay, thank you. So my
Never hear that.
yeah, so then my friend who told me about it was friends with the director, David Nutter. So I gave my friend a hard copy of my picture and resume, and he gave it to David Nutter, who then went back to Allison Jones and said, "We should see this girl." And she was like, "She's green. Like she can't, this girl can't do it." And they brought me back in anyways, and again in person, and I auditioned 7 times, for all the different roles. I think not until, like, my 4th or 5th audition did they let me read for Liz. And then, I did a chemistry read. I came from college at USC with like my backpack, and I did a screen test or a chemistry read with Jason Bear and that went well. And when I drove off the lot, they called they called to say that I got the job. And this was back when you went into Fox and there was like an auditorium and the seats were packed and you were like doing a play. They were like watching you act in person.
This is so interesting. Describe for our audience what that looks like. Like how many people are actually in that audience?
Sure. So in the same day, you would go to the studio first. So the studio were all the executives that were in, and that one was just a big room, and maybe there's 15 people in the room, and they're sitting on couches and chairs, and you're walking in. Hello, do something warm so they could see your personality, and you launch right into it. And then you see all the kids in the waiting room, right? So there's like 3 or 4 of us for each role. So you all know that a fourth of you are going to get the job and the rest of you aren't. So it's kind of intense.
Right.
And then you come to this network and they've cut it down a half. So you know who's sort of still standing. It's kind of like American Idol. And you walk into maybe 30 or 40 people are sitting in an audience, stadium seating, and you walk down to the bottom and there's a little stage. And David Nutter, the director, was sitting in the front row, and you just launch into it there. And you look out into the audience trying to see, like, is someone smiling? Is someone nodding? Am I getting a laugh? Am I feeling emotion? Like, are they connecting to me? You can, at least for me, I couldn't help but be aware every time I auditioned, like, how is this working? How is this connecting? Um, and so you could feel it. Like I remember I did a show, Life Unexpected, and the same thing. You go in and it's the stadium seating, and that one was at Radford, CBS Radford. And you could hear people laughing. You could feel the vibe. You could always feel the vibe in the room if it was working or not. And if it wasn't, I could feel the vibe enough to adjust in present
Incredible.
day.
Incredible. That being said, do you have stage experience?
I have auditioned a lot for theater. I have won 2 roles off Broadway, and both times TV work presented itself, and I never did them. So it's sort of like that hanging thing that I will get to at some point in my life for sure.
Good for
When the kids
you.
go to college, your new lease on life.
Right, when my kids are out, because theater is really, you have to be really selfless, and I'm not really at that stage right now.
Kids take that out of you for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I have a few more years to go.
Yes, yes, understood. Oh, that was a great description of that because I think there's so few people that know exactly how that goes, right? And if I don't know if that they're still doing that very much anymore. Probably not to that extent.
Probably
Um,
not to that extent, but maybe when you get down only to the last few people. So,
Mm.
to your point in one of the interviews, that there's only one person can get that job, and that you have to be so specific in the type. So, for people to have an opportunity to get down to the last three that are going to the network, that's a very small amount of people that were originally in that huge casting call that was on video that, we're just watching now at our leisure from our home or vacation or wherever it is.
It's a bit of a shame though, because I feel like a lot of the times I would find the character or the casting director would sort of push me or direct me in a certain way in those initial auditions to help me sort of land on what felt right. And that part of the process has evaporated now. And so
resumes.
Well, and we can put it in writing in the breakdown, but it's not the same as
Not
that
the
human
same.
connection. And, I would always find walking to and from that waiting room door to introduce to the directors that you could ask a few questions and give a few tips and find out what the actors do in their real life when they're not acting, which is not a trick question, by the way. I use it to catalog who they're, and those things that we would learn in the past, really help us cue the
right,
actors.
and then they can see your personality too and be like, "Ah, I didn't imagine that the character," like for Unreal, for example, the last time I had a audition in person, I went in and I did it the first time. I read the scene for the first time, and one of the producers was like, "I didn't even know that you started acting. It felt so natural." And she was like, "I didn't imagine the character to be pretty like you." And I said, "Well, that's maybe not how I feel on the inside."
I mean, that's so that character, right?
Right? Like, and had that just been over tape, even if
Right,
she did the exact same thing, she'd be like, "Ah, too pretty." And you don't have that back and forth where they can get to know you and
right.
see you for who you are and get a chance to see, can you take direction? Can you change? What is your vibe? Because like I feel it too when I'm directing and you bring actors that you're just casting off tape. You're like, I didn't know that that your energy was this, because not only am I trying to hire you for how you say the lines, but like how are you just to be around, and
Uh-huh.
how are you going to bring that tone, and are you is your you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. So I mean, that's a good statement. What do you think? And I'm doubt there's an answer, but maybe there is. What do you think we can do to change that within the confines of the virtual space that we live in for so many reasons now, money being the top reason?
I I wish I had an answer, because as an actor, I'm now like trying to figure out what is my approach to this self-tape. Like, how am I successful in this self-tape space? Because, I did Unreal for 4 years, and I've only been directing for the last, like, 8 years, and now I'm starting to, like, really, make my move back into acting again, and I'm having to learn a whole new skill. Like, my whole skill
Right,
set
it
in
is a
doing
skill
the
set.
job is obsolete, and like you said, Rose, like, it's not going back. I can't wish that I could just go back into a room. That's not so I don't necessarily know that I have the solution. I'm trying all different things to say, what is my approach? How does this work? And have to get used to it.
I think what we can tell you is do you. You
Mm.
do you.
Yeah,
And
and I
it
think
will
Zoom
shine through.
yeah, and the Zoom callbacks certainly are an opportunity for directors and producers to meet somebody with a personality, and it does translate, so I feel that you can still learn that. But you
Mm.
can't learn that in the self-tape, but you can in that Zoom callback. But there still is that hurdle that you're talking about. What's the approach that you can get to the callback to now be in the Zoom room with
Right.
people?
I mean, think about this. This is a weird casting confidential insider thing that we had never been in the same room together until season 3, where
Yeah, and
we
people
showed
are
up at
just thrilled
Gasparilla Film
this year.
Festival in person. So,
Now,
so,
fortunately, Rose and I had met at the RDS Awards in New York
but
a
not
couple of years
all of
before, but not
us.
our whole team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I knew all of them
The way of the
independently.
world.
Yeah, exactly. So and honestly, we could answer each other's sentences.
Mm.
So I think there's a lot that does come across on this tiny little space, and here we are doing it, right here. So just remember that, I think, when you're doing self tapes, that we're watching them. And what always tell actors is, I'm watching you more on a self tape than I ever did in person, because it's just too much for me. The in person, it was.
Well, and if you miss something, we can always go back and watch it
I
again.
always
You
knew it was being
let the actor
taped.
out and say, "Oh, wait, could you come back in? I was half paying attention. I need you to do that." I mean, you would never do that, but now if you get distracted, you can go back and rewatch.
You can go back and rewatch it, but yeah, in person, I'd be busy with the director and the producer and the technical stuff, and making sure,
The
can
camera
you
operator, when we used to get one of those
right?
because,
I'm
casting
like,
had to operate the camera.
I mean, I've
Now we
started a couple castings with like no sound. Like, what happened?
don't.
And then the people are gone, and that's a problem. So honestly, if you could think about self tapes are actually watched possibly more, than even the in person is just a little bit of warmth, but get that from your kids.
Is there other ones? That was such a, epic story of getting on Roswell. Is there other ones? Was there an interesting story in Unreal? I mean, certainly you mentioned that she said, "Oh, I didn't think she was so pretty." But and
Yeah.
isn't it ironic that the societal impression is that you can't be this strong, assertive woman and also, be a little easy on the ice?
Yeah, she thought that the woman that said it, the character was based on her, and she was like, I always imagined that the character would be kind of like this, person that lives in the shadows and is hiding and is dark, and um maybe didn't have such like a positive light that maybe I can bring. And so having to be able to sort of plead my case, which is you can look something on the outside, but you can feel something very different on the inside. And that is the job of the actor. So, I don't know. I think that little exchange really flipped it because I gave her the acting and she was like, I get it, but so I was able to plead my case to connect the dots. Um,
I think that's was so unique about that character. I mean, it had it been somebody that didn't have that warm energy that you do, how do you facilitate everything that has to happen on unscripted TV if you're just a mean curmudgeon
Well,
that
how do
nobody
you
wants to
like
be
this
around?
character? If you're
Right.
watching her just
Yeah.
pull people apart, then you become completely unlikable. I mean, another great casting one was I've only won or received the offer in person once, and that was from Mike Nichols.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And I had read for Juliet Taylor for This Is for Charlie Wilson's War, and I was living in New York. I had just like got an apartment in New York. I had made this big commitment that this was what I had wanted to do. And she was like, okay, you're going to come read for Mike in person. And it was to play one of Tom Hanks's assistants, and I came in what was like a very short dress that was very low cut and like cowboy boots, and I came and sat down on the couch next to him, and I read the line, and he started laughing, and it was like a very serious scene where I was just giving, Tom's character all this information, and I was like, "What's so funny?" He was like, "You're acting like this, but you're dressed like that." And, and then he was like, "You remind me a lot of Natalie Portman," which I was, like, so flattered by, and he was like, "I feel really good as you as jailbait. How do you feel?" I said, "I feel great. I am." And so, I think of that all the time because I'm always like, "Well, Mike Nichols gave me the part in the room. Why can't you just give me the part in the room?"
Right,
But you
right.
realize there's only so few Mike Nichols that have that power. Um and so I just remember walking down the street in New York City after I had just moved and this had happened. And yeah, it was a really big moment for me.
So as a director, do you give parts in the room? What goes on with you since you're on the other side? How do
Yeah,
you
I'm so
relate
curious
to
to hear
the
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's a very different space and how
Well,
the actors relate to you. I mean, you must be auditioning people that you know,
sometimes you do. Again, it's all on tape. And mostly you just hire off tape. I have really,
which of course for TV, so much easier.
Yeah.
yes, I've only directed TV so far. And the director is not the highest on the food chain. So
Isn't it the funny thing?
yes, you're just a voice.
Well, you're the chief creative officer, but there's a lot of other chiefs.
But you're not the top of the food chain, like, TV is really a producer's medium. And so you give your opinion, but you are also a team player because the name of the game in directing television is getting asked back.
How
So
do you relate to the actors as a
well,
director?
that's a different story, sure. Because then it's like I'm really, I have been raised on their team.
Right.
Like I know what it's like to be in hair and makeup. I know what is really distracting to me when I'm acting. I know what can be kind of intimidating. I've directed a lot of shows with young actors, and having been a young actor myself, I remember when the directors would come over to me, I would always feel like I was getting in trouble or I did something wrong. So, how do you constantly make people feel really good about what they've done and then also ask them to try something else? Generally, especially when I'm working with young actors, once we've, gotten a take and the DP is happy with the lights and everybody is set with crew, I try to run it a few times in a row, the scenes, so that hair and makeup or sound people aren't coming in to distract the actors because it's a really hard thing when you're working to, find your focus, then they cut and everyone comes and starts to touch you again and distract the environment. And then you have to get yourself all together very quickly. So once I'm able to, I really like to create a safe space so that the actors can do their work uninterrupted. And
So that's creepy, having all the people touch you.
yes, it's
No, which
creepy.
Who knew?
I thought that was really interesting when I did hear you say that in an interview, and you don't really think about it, but it is very invasive if constantly people are just in your personal space and you're really trying to be this other human being. So I thought that that was just, I'm glad that you brought that point up again, 'cause
Oh,
it's something that people don't really think about, that you were just
Right.
constantly, with people all up in your business all the
Right.
yes.
time.
Now
And
I
the name of the
remember.
game, yes, and the name of the game of acting is being easy to work with. So you're not really
So
able to say, "Excuse me, now it's my time to work," because their jobs are on your body,
Mhm. That's
right?
so
So you
weird.
have
Yeah.
to respect their work, but then you're not really given time once they finish to like reset before they start action because everyone is chasing a clock. So
Yeah.
once everyone sees
Especially with
that,
kids.
yes, and once everyone sees like hair and makeup and everybody is done, the first AD goes right into, okay, let's roll. And so I always found it a little jarring, in and out, in and out. So I like to just be like, okay, everybody's good. If there's an issue with hair and makeup, it's probably, let's get it, but maybe it's not an issue. Maybe it's
Right.
okay. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So then you can go,
We're human. Our hair gets messy.
so to
Our
me,
collars are
I
crooked.
was like, I don't need it so perfect. I know certain networks want it really, but I don't. And I would say during rehearsal, like I really have a sense, like I come in like shot listed and knowing the blocking. And that is really because once you've done that work of figuring out what cameras do I need where, what am I trying to capture, what shots do I really need to build the scene and build the story, that helps me, and it also helps the producers and the DPs all know what is our day like, what do we need to achieve. But that is really sort of a hindrance to actors to feel like someone is already telling them you're going to walk in and you're going to walk to this spot, then you're going to move here. And that can make people feel sort of like little pawns. At least it felt like that to me. So it's the same thing when I'm acting. I like to do all my work. And then once I come to set, sort of throw it away and just be in the moment. So when I bring all the actors in, we come in, we just start saying the words, just get the words out. I don't like to have too much crew on set other than like the DP and scripty and first AD, really keep it contained. Our background actors can watch, or I mean, our stand in so they can see what's going on. And then I do not let anyone know any of my preconceived notions of how the scene is going to lay. What is the blocking going to be? We organically go through it and find it. And if generally, you're saying like, okay, you're going to come in from the back room, you're going to come in from the store, there's certain points. I might say, hey, at this point, maybe you want to try sitting on a, whatever feels natural. But if something doesn't feel right, you can generally say, would this feel right? Would it not? But because I've already gone through and figured out what the blocking is and where the cameras need to be, I can easily adjust what I have planned out so that the actors feel that what feels the most truthful to them and what feels the most organic to them is what we're shooting. Because there's nothing worse than an actor being asked to do something that doesn't feel inherently true to them because you can read that on camera that they're not comfortable.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. Do you think, and this is a real sexist comment, but do you think that's a feminine touch that you're giving it? It just felt that way from your description, or to be fair, it could be a Shiri touch too, or a combo.
Sure. I mean, I've had the luxury of being an actor to hundreds of directors,
Right.
right? So I've had a front row seat to a lot of directors,
Yeah.
and I think there
That's
are
a
a lot of
big
really
tool in the
wonderful.
toolbox.
Yeah, I have picked up a lot of great things from a lot of people, obviously, mostly men
Right.
directors, and I've had lovely male directors. But I think that there is an understanding of what it's like to be an actor
Mhm.
asked of this job that not a lot of directors in television maybe have had that experience.
Right.
And so, how can they understand what it's like to do the job unless they've done it? I don't know what it's like to be a DP or a camera operator or a boom operator all day and what their challenges are, but I certainly know what the challenges are of an actor and how to best deliver. And the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that I realized when I started to be confident enough to say that I wanted to be directing was, when I was acting, I was really certain that everybody on set was just talking about the actors all day, right? Who's dating who's saying what, who's getting what magazine covers, all sorts of things. And what I started to realize was they're not talking about us. They don't even know our names,
Right.
right? And they don't know anything. And so that was really like an eye-opening thing. And then on my first few episodes I directed, I was like, where are the compliments? Like, how come nobody is telling me I'm doing a good job? And I realized that the actors really get showered with compliments
And
quite
no one
all day, and
no
nobody
one else,
else.
no
Well,
comment.
it is a means to an end. No offense
No,
to
it's get them
actors.
out of the trailer, get them on set, get them feeling comfortable.
It is what actors need. It just is. So we give that, of course.
Yes, but now when I'm directing, I am very much like, even to the boom guy, you really lifted that boom out of that shot
Uh,
at the right moment. Thank you. We'll make sure to the first date, everybody, I'm like sprinkling little things around
Wait.
because it feels good to know that what you're doing is being appreciated and acknowledged and is making a difference. Um, I like those little apple peanut butter sandwiches that Crafty gives out after the 8th hour of being at work, and let them know that that's made a difference. I think it's just like you're creating a vibe on set where everybody feels really appreciated. Um, and so that kind of stuff goes a long way.
So that's what gets you called back as a director.
Well, I make my days.
That's it. That's it. No, it's great. It's great. What made you want to be a director?
Well, like I said, when I started when I was 3, I never saw a female director.
Right.
And so I never saw an image of anyone ever doing this. My sort of fantasy for my life was that I was going to marry a director and I would bring my kids on set to watch him direct. And then when we did Roswell, we did 60, I think 63 or 64 episodes. And on the very last episode, a female walked on set, Alison Libby Brown. And I used to go into editing during lunch and learn how they edited all this stuff. And I would go and shadow the writers, and nobody ever told me that a woman could direct. And
Int-
when she walked on set, I was like, "Why? Why didn't anyone ever tell me? Like, how have I been doing this for my whole life?" And I didn't know. And then it took another 10 years before I saw the second one.
I mean, which is
Wow.
crazy. Just a staggering, staggering number. And I do feel that women do inherently have a approach that's similar to yours, because even if, you're not a mother, intuitively women are nurturing, and being a director is creatively nurturing to everyone.
That's
So I
right.
think we can tend to lean into that in a way that just makes everybody want to go the extra mile. I mean, I always say well, certainly in life, but certainly as a director, it's my responsibility to inspire others to over deliver. And by you being so kind, you're inspiring that in others, and that it took 10 years before you saw another woman doing it. But women are having much more success in television, I think, in other arenas that is a little more contained. There's not the responsibility of finding money, which is always
I
challenging,
mean,
or being given big budgets
it's
for.
all hard. I mean, nothing in this business is easy. Getting a job in this business is not easy for anybody. And if you've had any kind of luck, you should, I just always thank my lucky stars. And because I grew up in the business at a time where women were not the directors, there's not a day that goes by that I show up on set not focused on fully winning, because I know how quickly they're going to write that you can go back to the end of the line, basically. And
Easily.
so I really come in focused on doing my best, making sure that it's a positive experience, that I take notes. I'm a team player. And I think, as to why I wanted to do it, I think you want to sort of go for the dream, like I wanted to have more control over my life. It's really hard to be, as an actor, you're sort of in a box and you're waiting for that role to come around that you fit perfectly. And for episodic directing or directing at all, there is no box.
Right.
Right? I direct drama, I've directed a lot of comedy, like, I'm gonna do 911, I'm doing action now, you know what I mean? Like, it's all over, and so I just need an opportunity to get in the room and get on set, so you create a lot more control for yourself, and also, I think with, phones now, you can just shoot whatever you want and edit it yourself and put it out there on the internet and
Do it. Yeah. I
exactly.
mean, we talk a lot about the hustle on this show with Emmy Award winners, Emmy nominees, all the things. And the one thing that I hear from all of you guys is you got to work. You got to work, you got to show up, you got to really be top no matter where you are in your career, no matter where at the beginning, at the middle, and nobody knows when the end is. So, but yeah, yeah.
Well, what
Is
struck me is that your transition to that seems so easy because I could just see in all of your interviews, which I think you're commenting that on your work, is that you just love storytelling. And so because you love telling stories, that transition made absolute sense that, ooh, in a bigger way, I can tell the story.
I think I really enjoy the process, but to say that it was easy, it took me 7
no.
years.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
not easy. I went to the CW and I went to the ABC Family. I had made 3 shorts, and I was like, "I'd like to direct for you. I've starred in hundreds of episodes for both of you." And they both said no. They
Right.
said, "We will not give you an episode. You have to only way this is gonna happen for you is if you get a show on the air as an actress, and you make that show a hit, and you ask those people to give you an episode."
That's what you did.
So, yeah, so when we did the pilot for Unreal and the executives from A&E came to set, I was like, "I'm really here to direct." And then I was, like, not joking, and so then between the 1st and 2nd season, I shadowed the head of Lifetime, the head of A&E, and then the woman that ran the whole corporation because I wanted them to see that I was, like, really serious and I could
Serious.
not let this opportunity pass me by. And then when the show ended, I did 4 episodes on the show, including the series finale. I went to my agents who I absolutely love, and I was like, "Okay, I just wanna focus on directing," and they're like, "We are so supportive and nobody will hire you."
Wow.
They were like, "You it's like nepotism. You are starring on a show and the network gave you a job." They were like, "You have contacts. Go hustle." And so they're like, "After you figure out a few jobs, then we'll be able to help you get work."
Amazing. I mean,
Uh,
but
but
that
again, your agency and
hustle,
fortitude.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what it
hustle hard.
is, don't you think? I
Um,
think this whole business is all about how do you make that no a yes?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we talk about that ad nauseum, in casting. I mean, they're pretty much trying to stamp casting off of the map. And it's just like you have to keep changing and evolving in order to keep up with whatever career you're in, right? I mean, if you're a writer, if you're a director, if you're a plumber.
but the landscape has changed that in some respects that it is easier to create this content, not certainly at the level of Unreal, but that you can create the content which are just stepping stones to doing exactly what you did. But it does take time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What would you say to an actor wanting to turn their career in towards directing? What would you say?
Well, I think you could do it. I think it can be done.
Yay, yay.
It can
It's
all of that it can all what do you say?
I was gonna say pencil in 7 years.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I think it takes time, but I think
Rah-rah.
you don't have to be afraid to say, like I shadowed 7 times. Like I am a big believer in telling the people that you know what you want to do.
Mhm.
Right? Like don't be shy. You are your best manager. You are your best agent. Letting people know you want to do it. I think that again, like if you want to direct, make a bunch of shorts because the very first thing that people ask when you tell them I wanna direct is what's your tone? Do you have something I can see that you've made? I would not spend a lot of money on it because
Why?
why? I did one for Funny or Die, I did another one for Yahoo, and those were my 2 shorts, and that was it. But it showed that I could land a joke, I knew how to tell things visually, I could make things look cinematic, I could cut quickly, um And then I think it's really about, I think it's the same thing with acting and directing. It's not, you can't be frustrated if an agent's not doing something for you or a manager's not doing for you. You have to do everything and then just be happy when anybody else helps. Um, and so it's just about telling people that you want to do it. I don't know, telling everybody you know. It's so crazy hard, but
Yeah.
not
It is.
impossible.
Not impossible. And more women are directing and, so but yeah,
I mean, the numbers are still low, but more and more women are directing in
yeah.
television for sure.
Yeah. And it's crazy that you were probably not one of the first, but yeah, early on, just one of the names that were in the episodic mix, I think.
That's
Right?
here. I mean, there are definitely a lot of women that I look to, like Greta Gerwig, obviously she's crushing it, but she's like an actress that like really came out of like mumblecore, these little movies that they made themselves, and she started writing and she crushed it. Lena Dunham too. Like she made a movie, her parents gave her money and she made a movie and she crushed it. Like, and I keep thinking about all of these people and they're not like hanging out at restaurants and I shouldn't say that, but like they're busy daylight because I'm like my husband, you should hang out at restaurants. But I'm just saying people that are like working all day long to make their dreams come true. They're not being lazy. They're not waiting for somebody else to make it happen for themselves. They're being very proactive.
Yeah, you can't sit around thinking about it. You actually have to always be doing something. You have to be feeding the garden every day.
Yes, and I have found that whenever I feed the garden, my phone rings about something else. And so
Right.
it doesn't matter what happens to the thing that you're feeding, it's putting it out there into the universe that you're working towards something and it finds you. Um, Maybe it's a hippy dippy approach, but I have always found that it serves me and it feels good to be doing your art regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I think no matter what, particularly if you're in this business, you have to have a creative outlet that you can control. I think yours might be gardening, right?
Oh man, I was just gonna say, as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, "Guy, that's gardening has really served me because again, I feel really creative doing it. I really enjoy it. It's really good for your mental health to be outside and in nature. But
And physical.
it's physical, but it feels like part of my art in the sense that I am living like an artist every day. And that is what I think is really important if you survive in this business is that you are not an artist when you get a job and you go to set. You are an artist 365 days of the year. And you are reading books that are inspiring you, and you are having conversations with other artists, and you are seeing movies, and everything you are doing is filling your bucket of making you feel like you are an art, you are living and breathing it so that when you go to set or you make an audition tape, you are already your bucket is already filled and it's coming out of you regardless of where you find it.
Oh my God, what a beautiful way to say that. I couldn't agree more. I fuse glass and
Ooh,
yeah, it's interesting and
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
But I do it every week, like year round. Like I have time set aside to do that. And of course, work out and all the things you do.
Right.
But I think it's important, and I really think the actors need to hear this kind of thing is you have to work hard, you have to show up, but you also need your creative juices not in one bucket, just like what you said. It has to be all the buckets so that you could fill it and it's overflowing, and when you get to set, it's pouring out of you in the best ways, and that's what we wanna see, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you have to feed that garden so that you you're already arriving full and you have so many things to choose from. I mean, just the people you encounter every day as an actor are just part of the art that's going into your tool belt. So just being cognizant that, I mean, that's
Yeah.
certainly what I love about casting, about directing, just working with actors is the joy of being other people and telling
Yeah.
stories.
And I
Well,
have found
yeah.
that in my 20s, it was harder to be an actor because I only had one thing. I only had my acting. So I felt really sort of sad or low when I wasn't working because I didn't have something else to get that feeling from. And so as I've grown as a woman, and you're like, I find all these other avenues. Acting is just one component of it. So I can only ever just enjoy it through, I'm not asking for it to deliver more to me.
That's the greatest.
Mhm.
Absolute greatest. I love it. All right. Well, do we have any final thoughts or did we pretty much do that right there?
Oh, that was a great final thought, which definitely feeds into what I always say is that creativity never retires. And certainly you're showing that because you continue to creatively evolve year after year. So thank you.
Jerry's not retiring.
Hiring.
No,
I
no,
know it's a word that just doesn't exist in my vocabulary.
no, no,
So
none of us
you
will.
can't turn off creativity.
We have our casting confidential feedback session. And today we have Alison Bauer joining us as our guest actor. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you.
And she'll
Welcome, Allison.
welcome. She'll read a short scene opposite Shiri. And afterward, we'll give our feedback. And, maybe Shiri will too. So you have to wear all the hats in this one.
All
So
the
get ready.
hats on the show.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. And I'm going to pin you guys, and you guys know what you're doing. And all right, we're going to watch.
I'm gonna step off. 70s?
On your left as you came in.
Are you
And my what?
okay? On your left, you said?
On your left, back by the door.
I'm sorry. Sorry, but it's you, isn't it? You're Jesse Talone.
Not me.
You are. I recognize you.
Just one of those faces.
What are you doing here?
I'm not Jesse Talone.
Oh, yeah, yes, you are. Come on.
Got the wrong person. You're here to buy records, aren't you?
Okay. Okay. Tell me this isn't you. Jesse Talone and the Skiffs, I'd recognize you anywhere. Oh, there's another one. Right there. You're practically begging to be recognized.
N-
I'm not a creep. I just want you to admit that it's you, Jesse.
I didn't put that up there.
So what are you doing here? Is this like a hobby for you?
I work here.
Why? When are you touring next?
Like, I'm not Jesse Talone. I don't know what to tell you at this point.
You're being kind of rude, Jesse.
Well, frankly, you're not leaving me much of an option.
All I did was walk in here, recognize you, and love your music.
Please, I am telling you one more time, you have got the wrong person.
You can't admit it, can you?
And what are you doing? No, delete that. Delete it.
If you're a nobody like you say, who cares if I take your picture?
I do. Delete it. I'm not going to ask you again.
Okay. You're a private person. I respect that. But what if you sign that record for me and then I buy it?
You delete that photo.
Yeah, I'd delete the photo and I'd pay extra for your signature too. Mm-mm. No judgments, Jesse. Hard times. Gotta hustle.
Oh my God, I'm not Jesse Talone.
This has meant a lot to me.
Amazing. Amazing.
Same.
Kimberly, thoughts?
Fun. Love this scene. I would love to play with it a little bit so that both of you are on a slightly different journey so we have some escalation in the scene that you start out really timid, but then as you really, and speaking to Allison, that you really want to push the envelope to get the signature. So by the time we get there, that it's a bit more of a fangirl and excited, but that you started out as a really slow perk. And I would love to see it, Cherie, that you play it that finally when she won't go away, that I just want to see when your mind, well, if she's gonna pay me extra for the album, I'm happy to give her my signature. And So it's just kind of, I want to see you toying with the idea. Well, I may not be her, but if somebody's mistaking me as her, then I might want to have some fun with that too.
I love
Think
that.
of some fun timing with the comedy of it too.
Great.
And it gives you an opportunity not to also have to be so back in her face because she's so in your face. If we start with that little slow perk.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you just find it humorous that she's mistaken you.
Okay, great.
Sherry, you have any feedback for Allison?
No, but I was thinking as we were doing the scene, that we should have some kind of build. That to me, it felt like
Okay.
we were hitting one note throughout it, and it felt very a similar vibe between us, and it didn't feel like the scene had any peaks and valleys. And so I was just thinking, how do we build that for ourselves? So it didn't feel like it was just one run.
Okay.
No, I love that. And my feedback would be stay put.
Stay
Oh,
put.
don't move.
Yeah.
Oh, don't move around.
Allison was a lot of movement for a Zoom screen. It just,
Yeah,
like,
which I think to get that feeling too, Allison, if you just shifted your weight from front foot to back foot,
Front,
like
back.
yeah,
that
I
is
mean, it
enough.
just has to be such a tiny adjustment
Yeah.
in these tiny screens. And I think it's really important to know that as an actor
Okay.
in these times, right?
Right.
Yes, because you
So
spend more
yeah.
time here than anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, and I do wanna I like the modulating, ideas that everybody was giving. I wanna hear more, you know, what's happening, like, ups and downs in this. It felt all one
You
note.
want to be on a roller coaster.
Mhm, yeah, yeah. So take us down that journey. Go again, ladies,
Okay,
please.
great.
70s?
Yeah, it's on your left when you come in.
Are you?
In my what?
Okay. On your left, you said?
Oh, on your left, back by the door.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's you, isn't it? Jesse Talone?
Not me.
You are. I recognize you.
Just I'm just one of those faces. It's
Mm-mm. BS. What are you doing here?
I'm not Jesse Talone.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you've got the wrong person. Are you here to buy records or what?
Oh, okay. Okay. Tell me this is not you. Jesse Talone in the skiffs. I recognize you anywhere. Oh, there's another one. You're practically begging to be recognized. I'm not. I am not a creep. I just want you to admit that you're Jesse.
I'm not Jesse Talone. I didn't put that I didn't put that up there.
So you're doing this as a
I work here.
Why? When are you touring next?
Look, I am not Jesse Talone. I do not know what to tell you at this point.
You're being kind of rude, Jesse.
Well, frankly, you're not leaving me a lot of options.
All I did was walk in here, recognize you, and love your music.
Please, I am telling you one more time, you have got the wrong person. Oh my god. What? Seriously, what are you doing? Can you please delete that?
If you're nobody like you say, who cares if I take your picture?
I do. Will you delete that? I am not asking you again. Stop.
Okay, you're a private person. I respect that, but what what if? What if you sign this record and then I buy it?
You delete that photo?
I'd delete the photo and I'd pay extra for the signature too. No judgments. Jesse, it's hard times. You gotta hustle.
Hmm.
Mhm. I really, really appreciate this. End scene.
So,
And
how do you both feel about that? So fun.
I was
Sorry,
waiting for a lot to me.
I lost that last little bit.
I know. Isn't that funny? I was like, wait, what?
I appreciate it.
No, the change was amazing. Yeah, you guys did great. I loved it. Thank you both. Such valuable content for our
Thank you.
listeners.
That was fun.
That was great. You were wonderful, Allison.
Love it.
Thanks. And anytime you want to come out to the garden.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yes, later this afternoon.
All right. Kimberly, thanks so much for co-hosting today
Pleasure.
and for bringing your casting wisdom to the table. Shiri, thank you so much for joining us, and your stories and perspective as both actor and director are so inspiring. And a special thank you goes out to our guest actor, Alison Bauer, for sharing her talent with us in today's feedback session. To our listeners, make sure to follow Kimberly Skyrme Casting on Instagram, follow Shiri Appleby on Instagram, and don't forget to follow Casting Confidential at Casting Confidential and YouTube at Casting Confidential Podcast. So much here. You can follow me, Rosen Casting, whatever. And of course, you can visit us anytime at castingconfidential.com. And with that, this officially wraps season 3 of Casting Confidential. A huge thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't do this without your support. We'll be back in 2026 with season 4. And until then, thank you for listening. And as always, break a leg out there. Thanks, everyone. And that officially wraps season 3 of Casting Confidential. I couldn't imagine a better way to close it out than with today's incredible conversation with Shiri Appleby. This season has been such a ride. We talked with Danielle Pinnock from Ghosts, Purna Yaganathan from Deli Boys, Brandon J. McLaren from Wayward, Jeff Hiller from Somebody Somewhere, who went on to win an Emmy right after appearing on our show. That was so exciting. You should have heard me scream. And vertical video star TJ Wilk, who's pushing the boundaries of storytelling. And now Shiri, who brought us such a thoughtful and inspiring finale conversation. A huge thank you to our sponsors, Casting Networks, Wright Positive Films, and the RAFY app for making this season possible. Please follow and support them because they support us. And if your company wants to partner with Casting Confidential, email us anytime at castingconfidentialpodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you. And here's a little teaser. We'll be filming our season 4 opener this week at the Chesapeake Film Festival with the incredible John O'Hurley from Seinfeld. You'll not want to miss it. We're already lining up an incredible roster for season 4, so make sure you're following Casting Confidential so you'll be the very first to hear when it drops. Until then, I'm Rosen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. And thank you for being part of the Casting Confidential community. We'll see you in season 4.
One of the greatest podcasts in television and film with Rosen CSA and all the friends. Bringing you Casting Confidential. Casting, that's essential. Casting, so eventful. Time to tune in to close friends, chilling with Rose. We call it Casting Confidential. Get a notepad ready, grab a pen and pencil. For magic to jot down, tell a friend too. A wonderful podcast in TV and film, we call it Casting Confidential. Let's go.